around when it's time to ring.
Carrier has arrived. We feel your presence.
We gotta move.
Battle cruiser operational.
I don't have time to fuck around.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Nation Wars. It's going to be the first week cast of the new season. I'm going to be casting alone. Unfortunately, Doc could not accompany me today. And what we have on screen here is the matchups for week 1. Couple different things this season, 2 divisions, Division A and Division B. Top teams from last season are all in Division A, and then any new teams and all the B teams are in Division B. On the right side, you can see the format. It's a little bit different. Instead of 4 best of 1s and a 2v2, it's 5 best of 1s, 2v2, and then a potential ace match. We are sponsored by Africa this season, so all the casts are going to be on Africa TV. You can see the new teams. We have several new teams: Argentina, Colombia, and a bunch of new B and even some C teams. Today we're going to cast, actually 2 casts. We're going to have an English cast right now, and then after a short break, we're going to have the Spanish cast. It's going to be casted by Ultra, and possibly myself. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. And I think that's it. I think we're ready to start. Maybe I forgot something. Nope, I think we're ready to go. So today, we're going to be casting in English 2 series. Poland against Russia and Norway against Canada. And the first series is going to be Poland against Russia. These are the matchups. We have DeWall against Yeti on Polypoid. It's the same format as last season, where the players pick the maps they want to play on and then we match them up. And these are the matchups we ended up with. So, just 1 second, everyone look at the matchups. We're going to cast every series, even if it ends in 6-0. If it's a 3-3 tie, then we'll have an ace match. And now that ace match, it's not on screen here, it's going to be a way to build suspense. DeWall against Yeti PvP. Max, new player, never seen him before, against True Touch. Lancer X against Koget. Then we have the 2v2, always in the middle. And we go on from there. Poland, of course, won the last season against Canada in the finals. It was very close finals. Came down to a best of 3 between, I think, TT1 and Yeti. We all know how that ended up, and Poland ended up winning. Now this season they have True Touch, who did not participate last season. So this is going to be an even stronger lineup from Poland. Russia, no XPX. I asked him why. He said he's not playing Brood War till December or October. So if Russia does well enough to make it into the playoffs, he could have an impact there. But for now, this is what the Russian lineup is going to look like. And I think we're ready to start. We're going to jump right into game 1. DeWall against Yeti. Alright, so the map is Polypoid. And in the top right corner, we have the white Protoss DeWalt. And in the bottom left corner, we're going to have the red Protoss Yeti. Now, Yeti did beat TT1 in the last season's finals, 2-1. Not something to forget about. Very good PvP player. DeWall, of course, is known probably as the second best Protoss in the foreign scene. Hasn't been streaming much lately, but has shown results in STPL. Has been in several Korean, Scan, Bishop, Zealot. So, because he hasn't been streaming, not a lot of people know his current level. But I think DeWalt should be one of the favorites in any head-to-head matchup against foreigners at this point. Now this map is polypoid. You can see the natural, very standard natural. We have a mineral only third on a high ground. Usually you see us taken as the third. Sometimes you see this space as the third, high ground third with 2 ramps leading into it. We have these annoying little, whatchamacallit. Yeti with the gateway right next to his Nexus and the wall. Neither player scouting after gateway. And both blinking a gas on 12 or 11 roughly, so we're going to see gateway tech. Not any kind of zealot pressure, no zealot expand. Both players playing standard. Very delayed scouts, so they're getting a lot of economy out of the early game mining. And then we have the Cybernetics core from Yeti. DeWalt. So DeWalt's doing something a little bit different. He's going to make a Zealot first, then a Pylon, so he doesn't get supply blocked. And then eventually he'll make the Cybernetics core slightly delayed. Yeti skipping Zealot altogether. Now it's cross map, so this is going to play a big factor into the game. Probably going to see a little bit more passive play. Timing attacks are a little bit worse cross map. Both players scouting wrong, but they're going to scout each other second. And now because DeWalt made a Zealot, he should be able to block this ramp effectively against just one probe. Yeti is not likely to get a scout in. Now this June is going to pop out in about 30 seconds, which won't be in time to stop this probe from getting in. One of the reasons you like to early scout in PvP is because you can guarantee your probe will get into the main. Alright, looks like Yeti's going to make a pylon off to the side. And DeWalt with the second Zealot, so Zealot core Zealot. And now the Dragoon is going to start as soon as the Cybernetics core finish. So a very safe build from DeWalt. It does slow down his tech. And then we have the first Dragoon from Yeti. But DeWalt gets a scout. He's going to see all 3 pylons. He's going to know Yeti's playing standard. Yeti, meanwhile, does not get in, doesn't know what's going on. And we have a robo from DeWalt instantly, before range even. Now Yeti's in the dark, he's probably going to go 2 Dragoons, then make a robo, just to play safe, cover all his bases. We have a pylon here, unnecessary pylon. I think he was trying to trap the probe. And there's a robo. Now this robo, I don't like this positioning at all. It's very far from the ramp. You have DeWalt pushing back the probe. This robo, very far from the ramp, is going to mean that if Reavers are rallied to defend the natural at any point, it's going to take a very long time. Whereas DeWalt's, you can see how close it is to his ramp, and as a result, his natural. DeWalt delaying range for a very long time. Still getting Dragoons. And second gateway from Yeti. So Yeti's completely in the dark. He only saw the Zealot number, so he knows at least DeWalt's opening, but he doesn't know what his follow-up is going to be. And we have DeWalt instantly with the shuttle. Now we're going to see an observatory and the support bay. So DeWalt's game plan in this game is not to attack at all. He's just going to expand and play defensively while he harasses. We're probably going to see this fast support bay, just used for speed initially, and then a Reaver. And there's Yeti's observatory. Yeti, of course, is in the dark, so he needs to confirm what DeWalt's doing. And in case it's DT, you really do need this observatory. We're going to pressure with 3 Dragoons just to check what's at the front. Now he sees no expansion, so he can safely retreat here. He doesn't have to press the ramp or anything. There's an observer. There's shuttle speed. And then we're going to see a Reaver. And now this should be synchronized so that this shuttle speed and this Reaver will pop out roughly at the same time. Yet he's going to expand here. He's cutting Dragoon production for this. Now he went 3 gate, which is a little bit curious being cross map, but it's fine. He's not producing non-stop, which is, I think, a good decision, because if you see your opponents just playing defensively behind their ramp, there's no reason for you to attack especially when it's cross map. So Yeti just expanding, getting observers. No reaver quite yet. Here's the first observer gonna head out. These observers likely to meet, and then we'll likely see Yeti retreat his own observer to kill it. We have the Dragoons following. Now the observer can't be killed here. Let's see what happens. Come on. There we go. There we go. There we go. Alright, so an observer can't outrun another observer, so this was an opportunity for Yeti to kill the Walt's first observer, which is key, because when you're going to shuttle harass, this is a very expensive drop. We have 200, 200 in the shuttle speed, plus 200 minerals for the shuttle itself, and the reavers plus each scarab. Very expensive. So it's key for DeWalt to get as much scouting as he can with this observer, trying to see where he can drop his reaver. I just noticed something. Okay, there we go. The Waltz Observer. This is a good place for it. See if you can get into the natural. Now the shuttle is looping around. Sees all the units are here, so he knows there's an opportunity probably in the main. But Yeti not committing all his units to his natural, leaving one Dragoon in the main. Probably is going to need another couple. Here comes the speed shuttle. Yeti does have an expansion, so the speed shuttle has to get some damage done. 4 shots off on the shuttle, so the shuttle has to retreat instantly, and nothing done by the wall. And now the wall doesn't have an expansion, and Yeti does. Yeti looking like he's gonna skip reavers altogether, just defend with mass gateway units. Now this is not the best way to play, but it's an efficient way to play when it's easier basically to just make units in macro than it is to control shuttles during fights. There's Yeti Observer spotting the shuttle. Now this observer is key. Feel like it can get picked off at any moment. Now 2 reavers in a shuttle doesn't mean harass anymore, and this is going to be an attack from DeWalt. When you see 2 reavers in a shuttle, losing this shuttle is very risky. Now you can risk losing 1 reaver, but not 2. Now I like how Yeti is positioning his Dragoons. You have some on the high ground. Really wants to spread. See what angle the wall is coming from and have a good concave. He's going to spot the wall on the low ground here. This is opportunity to pounce. He could have picked off the shuttle. He has to be very careful the wall with these reavers. These are extremely beefy up at the front. They can be microed around, but with these 2 reavers, the shell's been picked off now. The wall's in big trouble. The reavers are moving forward, targeting Dragoons, but this is not how you want to do it. Now we managed to save 1 of the reavers, and 5 against 5 with the reaver support should be about even. Decent scarab was off. Not sure. I guess this Dragoon went forward and picked it off, and now DeWalt has to retreat. Now we see the probe count is actually very close. So even though Yeti's had this expansion a lot faster than DeWalt's not too behind in economy. Now DeWalt has been mining, or just started mining, whereas Yeti has been mining for a very long time. So he still has more minerals at this point in the game. So DeWalt has to be very careful. Now we see him making more reavers. He knows an attack is incoming. He just lost his entire army of shuttle with 2 reavers. Yeti's on 5 gateways, and I guess this is a citadel. Whoops. More gateways from Yeti being added. So again, you can see he's not going to make any reavers at all this game, which of course is going to make it very hard for him to attack into a player that's making reavers. Now in the open field, the Dragoons can minimize the reaver splash, but attacking into this defensive position, they'll clump up naturally and maximize the efficiency of the reavers. So Yeti playing it smart again, not attacking. He also doesn't have an observer to see what the wall exactly has. He only has 9 Dragoons at this point. You can see Yeti has about 15 with Zealot support. With 2 reavers, DeWalt feeling confident enough to take a more forward position. The high ground is better normally, but when it's so open like this, it can be a bit of a risk. But with 2 reavers, he should be fine. Getting an archives and a 7th gateway. Now the archives is for High Templars. Sometimes you'll see Archons, but when a player is going heavy into reavers like the wall is, there's no reason to go Archons. The High Templar splash will make up for the lack of reavers. Well, it's still on 4 gateways. You can see his low gateway count is as a result of all these reavers that he's made. 3 reavers now. Already he's made 5. Have an observatory coming out. Don't think the wall has any observers on the map, so if Yeti ever does make DTs, looks like he's only making High Templars. The wall could be in a little bit of trouble. Late third base from Yeti, so he's just powering up, trying to get a big army and attack the wall. Now this can be a little bit risky. You usually want to make your third in PvP quite late, but this might be cutting it too late for Yeti. The wall not planning an attack at any point. Feeling confident with his Reavers, just holding this position. Transferring to his new base. You can see he's making even more probes now. Still behind on supply, but these Reavers are extremely powerful. Hard to attack into this. Curious probe positionings from Yeti. These could be pylons. I don't know if you can build. I guess you could build right here, maybe. Usually you see pylons, like if we see a pylon built here, one at 9 o'clock, you can use them to spot incoming Reavers. Alright, that's +1 for the wall. Yeti doesn't even have a forge. Now we have High Templars finally. It looks like Yeti's gonna move out. Now where does he attack? One of the features of Polyport is it's pretty hard to attack into any location. You have this high ground here, this high ground pod. Now we have concave that the vault can use here as well. So it looks like Yeti's gonna come into the high ground. If he can get some storms off, this would change basically how the fight looks. But the wall has his army split. Now he has to react instantly to bring all his units to this high ground. Zealots don't have speed quite yet. Huge scarab goes off. Storm on the Reavers. 2 storms will kill a Reaver, but if the Reaver moves out, then all of a sudden it becomes 3. Not very efficient. You want to usually use it when there's a shuttle as well, or on large clumps of units. Now Yeti's gonna commit. Yeti's gonna commit here. We have 3 Reavers in the back. 1 storm goes off on the Reavers. One of the Reavers not shooting. We have a cannon as well to support. Now these Zealots are clumping up big time. You can see the Reavers are targeting the units at the front, and it's all Zealots. The wall has this concave with his Dragoons on the high ground. These Dragoons are missing half their shots. He's moving forward, trying to snipe off the last Reaver, and he's not able to do so. And you can see the wall held that off pretty easily. He's left with about a control group of Dragoons and a Reaver still alive, and he's even taking a 4th here. Yeti taking his 3rd just now, even after the wall's 4th, or basically at the same time. And now the wall is having his own High Templar, so in terms of tech, he's caught up entirely. He does have Reavers to support, and he has better economy. Yet he's in big trouble here. He has to do something with his next attack. The wall going up in gateways, he's up to 3, 6, 10 gateways. Forge is about to finish +1. Not as effective in PvP as the other matchups, because the real damage in PvP is done by splash units like Reavers and High Templars. The +1 has small, minimal impact really. And we have an observer seeing that Yeti's taking a base. The wall doesn't know if this is the 3rd or the 4th. And we have Yeti confirming the wall's 4th. So now Yeti is going to realize he's in big trouble. He has to do something with his next attack. We have Storm about to be done for the wall. And looks like the wall's going to be caught out of position, and this base is going to be forfeit. We have the 2 Reavers heading down to Yeti's new base. No probes here quite yet, and here are a bunch of Zealots going to get on this high ground. The wall, nope, the wall doesn't get to cancel. Now this could be disastrous for the wall if Yeti can get control of this high ground before he gets up here. He can start storming the wall's units as they come in. We have the probe transfer. It looks like it's going to be pulled back, and the wall smartly sacrifices that base. Now we have the Reavers in a perfect position, catching the probe transfer. All the probes dead for Yeti. The wall unsure of what he's doing with his army. Does he really want to engage here? Yeah, the storm on a large clump of Zealots. Very good. Now where did the shuttle go? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, looks like we're harassing even more. Yeti actually never made cannons. Tons of probes going down. Look at these scarabs. Oh, good detonation from the wall. We're getting High Templars. These Reavers have gotten a ton of value. And now the wall should just play defensively. He sees Yeti's only on 3 bases with barely any probes. Picking off a stray high Templar. It looks like Yeti invested into Templar energy. A bit curious. Shadow has to be careful where it retreats, but it looks like it's going to head back into this base, and there's nothing here defending. We have one Zealot. More Zealots coming in. Reavers two-shotting that cannon. And looks like the wall's just barely going to get away. And he's expanding again, so just a clinic from the wall in the late game macro. Pulling Yeti apart with the multitask. Better upgrades, better tech. We're transferring out of the main because it mined out. And so did Yeti's actually. So Yeti's on basically 1.5 bases now. He doesn't have the economy to keep up with the wall. And the wall's in a very good defensive position, so it's going to be hard for Yeti to accomplish anything. We have Archons. Now Archons are extremely beefy, but having less storms in any fight is going to hurt the player, especially with Reavers on the field. The Reavers will eat up all the Zealots and Archons, and now we have storms from both players. Looks like they're trading about evenly. Looks like actually Yeti's winning this fight, but the wall left the control group behind, and with his production, he's going to be able to hold this off easily. He's not even using the Reavers, and Yeti running out of units here. Back at home, you can see Yeti's rally. It's very small. Not too many units there. The wall held off what's going to be, I think, Yeti's final attack. We have 2 forges being invested in upgrades, but we've been too poor to actually even have them spinning. I want to see how many kills these Reaver have. Yeti's leaving some units behind to stop harass. Now, this is just a good play overall, but it's too late now. It's too late now. So we have Trap Zealots. How did this happen? And the wall's finding an attack. +2. Now, you know what's a pet peeve of mine when you're this ahead as a player? Now, the wall's attacking, but you can see players that are this ahead and they just non-stop harass, never attack, just keep expanding, and it'll prolong a game unnecessarily. So I like that the wall's just going to attack here. Realizes this huge advantage. Now 22 kill Reaver here. Manages to pick him up in 18. So about 40 kills between these two Reavers combined. Tons of damage. They finally do go down. Some small consolation there for Yeti. The game basically ended when those two Reavers came and harassed his 2 bases. And there we have the GG. And the wall wins game 1. So we're going to go into game 2. It's going to be Max against True Touch on Eclipse. Now, some more backstory on last season. Russia actually finished 11th place. Very poor showing. Lots of complications with organizing the matches, and I think that was a result of the time difference, because Russia, at least Moscow versus, let's say, the west coast of the United States is a 10-hour difference. Very hard to coordinate games, so that's why we had a couple changes in the formatting of the matches, like scheduling the matches. Players will have now more days on the weekends to do so. Gonna go into game 2. You're gonna see True Touch for the first time in Nation Wars. Alright, in the top right corner of Eclipse, we have a new player, Max, Russian Protoss. And in the bottom left corner, as the white Zerg, we have IRK True Touch. Now, True Touch, everyone knows who he is. We haven't seen him play in Nation Wars because he didn't participate last season, but everyone knows he's a strong Zerg player. Maybe the strongest. Who knows? And we have Max, who knows that, and he's already up to something. Now this probe pathing is a little bit curious. It's gonna try to avoid this Overlord. It would come directly to True Touch's base. It would be scouted. Let's see where he decides to proxy. He's gonna proxy here. Now this is all buildable, and it's right behind the net. And looks like he's gonna do that. Let's see what True Touch is gonna do. We have an Overlord. Are we gonna see Overpull? Are we gonna see 12 hatch? It's gonna be a key moment in this game. We have 200 minerals, and it looks like we're gonna go hatch first. Now this isn't the end of the world. Oh, it's a little bit close. This isn't the end of the world quite yet. But yeah, it's gonna be a 12 hatch from True Touch and Max with the proxy 99 gate. Now we have this probe rerouting, and this is gonna be key. He's gonna have to dupe True Touch into thinking this is coming from the net. We have a drone scout as well. Let's see what this probe is up to. Alright, so the angle this probe is coming from looks basically normal. True Touch is not going to suspect anything is up quite yet. Here we have the drone getting one shot off. And the probe arriving into the net. One zealot being produced already. We have a second pylon. Don't want to get supply blocked when you're doing something like this. And there's the pool. So the pool is going to start basically as the first zealot. We're going to have 2 zealots at the net before any lings are even in production. I think True Touch is in big trouble here now. He's going to know. He's going to know right now. Does he cancel? He has to cancel. First zealot already out. True Touch knows his proxy 2 gate. He sees no probe production. Realizes this is about as all in as it gets from Protoss. So don't see a cancel quite yet. He's saving larva for lings. He's going to need them. He's buying time with these drones. Okay, looks like he's not going to cancel the net. He's going to use the production from the larva. I'm surprised he's never made a sunken. There we have the first 8 lings going to be produced right off the bat. We already have 2 zealots, 2 probes, 2 more zealots in production. The drone that was out is coming back, going to make a sunken at the net. Yep. So now True Touch, basically all he has to do is hold without losing too many drones. But this is so risky. Alright, 6 lings pop out, and with the support of the 12 drones, we got a good surround on the probes and the zealots where we got both probes down. He's still fighting. He's making a sunken at the natural. Realizes if he can clean up the zealots in his main with the sunken at the natural, he should be fine. We have 1 zealot going to be picked off going behind the minerals. Now Max isn't using his zealots effectively. They're getting split off. They're not attacking. What is he doing? What is he doing? Alright, 5 zealots do still beat this number of links, but with the drone drill, we're splitting off the zealots, we're bugging them out. We're going to pick off these 2 at the front. 1 gets killed basically by drones, and now Max is just losing all his zealots. True Touch has enough lings to fight the zealots now. And he holds off the rush effectively. Max is in big trouble. You can see he never made more probes. He's rallying zealots, but these zealots are heading into the main super weak. Basically with about 3/4 of their health already gone before even fighting any lings. True Touch feeling confident enough now to make drones. Now does he just counter? Or does he kill these gateways? Looks like he's just gonna counter. He can kill these zealots. 1 is already low health. Nope, looks like he's gonna go back and kill the gateways, but I think Max is gonna have enough production to defend these for a little bit. Very big mistakes from Max to allow True Touch to hold this off. Basically, he engaged in the worst possible position. This is the easiest drill Zerg can do. For example, if these zealots were to attack from the south path, True Touch can only drone to this, and then the natural. You have more time to react to the drone drill. This pool is also exposed. He could have just gone for the pool. He had a lot of options, really. True Touch never made a sunken in the main, so he had time and opportunity. Now it looks like he's going to play on. He's getting gas. It's going to be very hard for Chucha to counter with 2 Zealots on the ramp. And he's actually still been able to protect these gateways. Chucha has been droning up though. And you can see that even on 2 hatcheries, he was able to hold that off. Now he's going to have a 3rd hatchery. He's going to have a gas. We're still very low on drones, but it doesn't matter when Protoss is only on 1 base. We have about 13 lings. Not enough to kill 8 Zealots. Now we have a few more lings coming. Let's trying to get a good position. Again, 2 are getting split off. Another one gets split off. This isn't how you want to use your Zealots. Zealots moving forward. Zealots moving forward. Trying to get a good engagement, a good concave. Decent micro there, but just too many lings now from TwoTouch. And now Max's production is all gone. We have a cybernetic score, but no gateway. We're very vulnerable to ling all in now. TwoTouch is actually even going lair. Alright, let's adjust a little bit. I mean, Zerg can do anything they want now. One of the key features of PvZ is you never want to let the Zerg drone freely. And if Zerg ever has an opportunity to do that like they do right now, then you're in big trouble. You have 2 cannons going into the main, and when Chuchat sees this, alright, 2 Zealots holding their own against a lot of lings, but the key here is going to be the scout that Chuchat is going to get. Max literally has nothing. He has cannons and probes on 1 base and a cybernetic score. Targeting the pylon. Now these cannons are going to finish. He won't die to these lings, but he's already so far behind. And there's a large round of drones from TrueTouch. Max is going to make what looks like it's going to be a Citadel. Again, curious. We have cybernetic score and a Citadel, but no gateways. Gateway being hidden in the back. I like this. Make the gateways here, it's exposed to links. This is something you see if you face the 5 pool. Stuff like this. Alright then. Spire going down. I mean, +1. We're gonna go for a speed lock timing. We're gonna get +1. I mean, Max is just in so much trouble. You can see TrueTouch is just doing whatever at this point. He's even gonna take the double gas base. First time on this map I see this go double gas taking. You see it's only 3,000, but it's never gonna mine out. Third gateway from Max. So Max is a fighter. Doesn't want to tap out until it's basically over, but Chucha is just gonna match mass muta here. And without any anti-air, he should just GG upon seeing the mutas for the first time. You know, 5th. I guess this is already the 6th hatch going down at the 4th base, 5th base. Still have enough links to hold back any Zealots. And I mean, speed is gonna finish. These mutas are already almost out. Lots of drones now. Still no anti-air from Max, just these 2 cannons. This game ended when it was, I think, 4 Zealots that did no damage to the Zerg economy. Forced a full pull, but then lost the fight. Alright, there's speed on the Zealots now. They're gonna move out and see these mutas. Or maybe they never move out. And 3, 2, 1. GG. No GG for Max, just leaves the game, taps out. And with that, we're gonna move on to the next game. Max unfortunately taps out. So now Russia is gonna be down 0-2, and we have Lancer X against Koget. Well, actually, it's 1-1 because the wall won. Now this is probably gonna be the best match of the day. Not the one with the best players, of course, just the most exciting match. 2 well-known players between these two nations, and on a map everyone's comfortable on, Fighting Spirit. Big opportunity there wasted. Alright, in the bottom left corner as the white Protoss, we're gonna have Lancer X. And in the bottom right corner as the, I don't know this color, I guess it's green, Terran, we have Koget. Now Lancer X, I see he's still playing, he's been laddering. And Koget never seems to ladder or stream or play at all in individual tournaments, but then he does extremely well in all the team leagues. He did well in STPL, one of the strongest performing players there. And last season in Nation Wars, I don't think he lost a single time. Map is Fighting Spirit. Oh, let me fix one thing real quick. So it's 101. Pylon in the main from Lancer X. We're not going to see any proxy gates. Map is Fighting Spirit. Everyone knows this map. Probably the most well-known map, most played map. Lancer X gonna make gateway. Do we have a gateway scout? Come on, come on. 150. Alright, I like this. No gateway scout, not necessary. Koget. Let's see where he makes the barracks. He's gonna make it at the natural. He's gonna make it in his main. So we're gonna have in his main. Now, does this fully wall if he makes a factory here? I think there's a gap here, I'm not quite sure. Gas from Lancer X and still no scout. Sorry. Alright, so this barracks positioning is going to mean that with a factory here, Koget is going to be able to get a fully tight wall. Don't usually see walls in TVP anymore, especially not ones that require depots, but when you can get a free wall like this, just 2 buildings that are where the barracks is liftable and won't later in the game obstruct your movement down your ramp, you just do this. This allows you to skip marine or even make 1 marine. Now, yeah, this looks tight. This looks tight. It might not look tight, but it is tight. No zealots can fit through there. And Lancer X didn't make a zealot anyway. We're gonna have a Dragoon. Now this Dragoon is gonna be Lancer X's scout. But this means the wall, this means Koget is gonna be able to just do what he wants behind this wall. He could go into a variety of different things. He could go into a 2-fact, won't be scouted. He could go into drop play, but with only 1 SCV on gas, this is gonna be an expansion. Probably a siege expand. Depends on how many marines he wants to make. And we have the SCV scouting both adjacent bases first, not going cross. This is an anti-nexus scouting pattern because against the 12 next cross map, there's nothing you can do. Now with a wall, it's also curious because there's nothing you can do with a wall. You're gonna have to lift it, but you can at least respond accordingly to a 12 next if they're adjacent, close enough for you to put some pressure on. Now we have the command center going down on the high ground. Another marine is being made. And we have 3 back on gas from Koget. So you can see, as soon as his command center went down, he added the SCVs back on gas. Lancer X. Looks like it's going to be a 28 Nexus from Lancer X. First Dragoon heading out to scout. He's going to get to Koget's base first. 2 Marines on a high ground do hold off a Dragoon. So you can see that's why he made the second Marine. Otherwise, he'll just be pressured slightly. This Dragoon doesn't have range quite yet, so the Marines have the same range as the Dragoon. Because no Zala is out, like this is extremely risky if there was a Zala out on the map. Now Koget never confirmed that, but it's not going to bite him back in this game. Now with the tank, should be easy for Koget to defend, and he's going to get siege. He's going to get Vulture and a starport, so he's going to follow up with dropship play, and Lancer X is just playing standard. Let's see, yep, that's a Robo. We have second Nexus, both players playing standard, but Koget's mixing in a fast drop. Command center is done. Now he's not going to be able to take his natural until this is out, this research, but the real play here is the follow-up drop. It's going to probably catch Lancer X off guard. Now I like the way he's doing this. I'm pretty sure he didn't plan to do this build, but because of the way they spawned, the power of drop is increased. You can see that for Lancer X's spot, he either has to have a unit at 6 o'clock or behind his natural. Not something you see early on in the game. You want to use your Dragoons offensively in the early game and then bring them back. So Koget has the opportunity to drop right here and then lay mines on the ramp. Whereas if he were cross map, very hard to get drops off without them being spotted. And if Lancer X were in the top right, basically the same thing. The threat of the laying mines on top of the ramp and then harassing isn't as powerful. Now we're gonna have 4 vultures with this drop. Well-timed build. Probably gonna see another vulture. I think the plan here is to drop and then harass the net at the same time with some vultures. We have an eBay. Koget is in the dark. He has to be careful. If Lancer X were going for drops, he'd be in big trouble. I mean, DT drops, he'd be in big trouble here. And we have a pylon. Oh, this is huge. He actually spots drop incoming. We have no reaction quite yet. Maybe he wasn't looking there, but he should have seen this drop. We have the 4 Dragoons at the front. They could have easily defended this. Looks like we're going to split them off. 2 vultures at the net, or we're all... Okay, so I think Koget realized that he was spotted and decided just to get as much damage done with the drop, realizing that if he got into the main, it would have been extremely risky. So smart play by him, but it actually didn't work because Lancer X never reacted. Must have missed it completely. Dropship rerouting. It's important in the early game to give as much value to your units as possible. This is a big investment going to dropships, so Koget really wants to keep these vultures and the dropship alive to provide as much value as they can. 2 Dragoons at the front, gonna spot this vulture moving and probably gonna... Nope. 5 HP. Turret ring coming up for Koget, and now we're making only tanks. This is important because he spent so much production building only vultures that he needs to get his tank count up. Now we have mines being laid at the 3rd, but Lancer X should have an observer pretty soon. We have 3 gateways following this up, this fast Nexus, so Lancer X is playing safe and standard. Drop hasn't accomplished much. I like the way he's positioning his Dragoons. And now we're going to spot this dropship. Lancer X has very defensively positioned Dragoons. You can see no drop in the main is going to likely do damage. Observer finally heading into the 3rd. It's important to delay the 3rd as long as possible when you're going drop, because you're really cutting into your units when you go drop. So Protoss can take that 3rd for free basically, and you can't do anything to punish it. So delaying this 3rd as long as possible is going to help Koget not fall too far behind in this game. 2nd and 3rd factories going up. We have an armory and an academy. He's getting his upgrades. You can see he did kill about 4 or 5 probes, so he's a little bit ahead on workers. Lancer X's 3rd is quite delayed. And we have 2nd gas. Getting SCVs on gas now, but no Citadel quite yet. Is this going to be a Citadel? Nope. There's the Nexus. And Koga going out again with the drop. He knows a pylon is here, so he's going to try to avoid that. It's going to be a turret. Where's this SCV moving out? Dropship almost gets caught, but just spotting the dropship is good enough, basically. And Lancer X is going to defend this just fine. Koga's just going to go in and sacrifice this dropship. Absolutely no damage done with this dropship. And now Lancer X should breathe a sigh of relief. And you're gonna, as Protoss, once the dropship dies, you feel much better. The potential for drops is very low now. It would be a big investment for Koga to invest into drops again. 100 is basically the cost of a tank. Good saturation from Koya. You can see even while he was moving his dropship around and macroing, he didn't miss a beat on his SCV production. We're going up to 6 factory now, so we're going to follow this up with the timing. But the dropships, the harassment, I don't think it accomplished quite enough. Usually you want to, the 1-2 punch with this build is you get tons of economic damage done, and then you follow up with a fast timing, or reasonably fast timing. Don't let them recover, don't let them catch their breath. Anthrax is going up at gateways. Very funnily positioned gateways. You can see no pylons on this side. You want to build your gateways in a cluster, not necessarily vertically like this. Finally adding cannons. Now if the dropship were alive, these cannons would be an extremely smart play because one cannon will shut down vulture drops pretty effectively. Even if they can get out of range of the cannon, for example, like over here. You can just pull your probes to the bottom patch and they'll buy you enough time for your Dragoons to arrive. And we have Lancer X getting speed before any other tech. So he must realize, or at least suspect, that a timing is coming. But normally this is a good play if it's going to be on your standard bread and butter 5 or 6 fact. But the Walt's actually, Koga's actually teching up further. It's going to be a 2-base timing with 2-1. We have 7 factories already up. Our tank count has increased radically from the early game. We're already up to 10 tanks, 12 soon. Now the 2-1 isn't going to line up with how when we want to move out. But Lancer X is what does Lancer X have? He's going to have a bunch of gateway units, which is good, but they're not going to be extremely effective against upgraded Terran. No splash, no upgrades. Now he could decide to just keep expanding. We have a probe going to take a 4th base. But what usually happens against a 2-base 1 Terran, you can't win with maps. You don't have the time to just take the whole map. This is a timing after all. Koga moving some vultures around, trying to get as much value out of them. Basically, you want to lay the mines, and if they eat any units, it's just added value. They provide scouting, they provide information. Any mine detonations are just value, extra value on top. Alright, we finally have an archives, but even if this were for Storm, I don't think the Storm is going to be in time for this push. Storm is extremely key against 2-base timing. 2-base 2-1, I should say. Because Storm ignores all upgrades, and you need Splash to deal with powerful Terran armies. Usually it's in the way of Stasis, but sometimes it's also Storm, or even both. So there's archives completing now. So we have shuttle in production. If we're going to make High Templars, we're going to need a shuttle. There's a shuttle. Looks like Koga's trying to snipe off observers at the front. He already has a vessel. Not going to get EMP, probably, because when you scout Protoss not going for Arbiters, you don't need that EMP. Vessels still provide detection, and a D-Matrix can change the look of a fight. You have Lancer X at the front. You can see the supplies are extremely close. Let's look at Koga's upgrades. Look like 2-1 is just about to finish. 1 armor done. Weapons 2 about 15 seconds behind. And we have Lancer X with a huge army, but as you can see, it's only about 20 Dragoons and pure Zealots. No splash quite yet. He's trying to catch Koga unsieged. Looks like he's gonna get a good engagement. There's a D-Matrix act up front. That tank is gonna provide a ton of value. And now the splash from these tanks is gonna basically melt all of Lancer X's units. Zealots at the front did kill off a huge number of tanks. We're only down to 8 tanks, 2 more in the back. We managed to keep a control group of Dragoons alive, which is key. Zealots build faster, and you want to just make Zealots here to reinforce your army. We have Lancer X's 4th. Designing gateways at the top. We're making tons of Dragoons, and we're making DTs. Curious. Really need Zealots here. You can see Koget is able to reinforce this push extremely fast. We're also at adjacent positions, so the push path is going to be a lot shorter for Koget. Being careful not to lay mines carelessly. Slowly pushing. Koget realizing he has an advantage, and there's a 3rd command center from him. Lancer X looks like he's going to reroute his units, trying to cut off reinforcements, but Koget's already had his net. Tanks shelling the Dragoons at the rally. We have this DT, but with a vessel already out, not much value this DT can provide. We have +1, and there's Storm finally being researched. We don't have any High Templars in production, so even if Storm finishes, he's going to be in big trouble. I think he's going to have to sack his Nat. The only play here for Lancer X is to buy enough time for Storm to come into play and then try to get some valuable Storms off. He is counting Koget's 3rd, so Koget's going to be basically all in with this. You can see he's basically maxed, and he still has enough in the bank. We're going to have Zealot bombs, it seems like, but with distant number of vultures, the Zealots will just melt instantly. Dragoon's finally going to cut off reinforcements. Koget's been able to reinforce this position freely. He's been picking off units from Lancer X. Lancer X making gateways in the top left corner. Without a tank, this base isn't going to be picked off so easily. We have Lancer X trying to hold this high ground. He already lost his net. No reason for him to be on this low ground, but he's in big trouble now. If he can hold off a little bit longer until you have Storm, we have these 2 High Templars trying to gather enough energy for Storm. We have one Storm that's going to go off, but you usually want to have 2 Storms. 2 Storms changes the look because you can kill off the tanks that are clumped. We're going to have energy for another Storm soon. We finally have a tank sieging this 3rd. It's like the Dragoons are kind of wrap around to kill this tank off. When you can chain Protoss like this, it's smart to send off a couple stray units to pick off any nearby expansions. Gateways at top left not producing. I know, it looks like we had another Storm go off. Yeah, this High Templar didn't kill any units, unfortunately. Now we only have tanks. These vultures are out of position. This is Lancer X's opportunity. If we had a shuttle, we could probably bust this position. Looks like he's occupied with this 1 tank. Behind this, Koget doesn't have a 3rd. Oh yeah, he's actually making a 3rd. Top left just finished. Top right. And now we have vision of the high ground with this vessel and we're sieging the gateways. Now this isn't too big, but Lancer X is running out of time now. There isn't a ton of vulture support for these tanks. Huge mine goes off. 6 Dragoons die. I mean, Lancer X is playing this patient. I like these DTs. DT's catching the SCV transfer. He's going to head to 3 o'clock, but fortunately for him, he's going to go to top right. Lancer X mines out of his main, so he's down to 2 base. Koget is only mining from his natural. He's not mining at all now. These DTs should be his saving grace. He could kill all the mining from Koget, meaning this is going to be Koget's last army for a little while. You have vultures heading top right. He should have left 1 DT at the ramp, trying to buy as much time as he can. DT is going to work on these SCVs, but not with the vultures arriving. Having all the DTs like this, none at the ramp. 1 DT at the ramp could have been huge here, but understandable that he would miss something like that. He's under a ton of pressure. Still bleeding units. Oh, 3 Zealots on these. Looks like we're finally gonna commit more units to this new base. Oh, what a mine! Kills off 9 probes. And now with this tank supporting these vultures, the cannon Dragoons aren't gonna be enough. Looks like we have 3 Zealots coming in, not targeting the tank. and they die. Look at Koget's upgrades. Very strong. He didn't really afford enough. It looks like we have Lancer X trying to break out, but he's coming out in a line. His units are all clumped. Now we only have tanks here if we have one shuttle. You can see how valuable Zealot bombs would be, but this is just not having the information in. Lancer X taps out. Very good game from Koget. Oh, looks like I forgot. Very good game from Koget. Well executed push. You can see he was very patient. Lancer X was very patient, but just didn't have quite enough splash to deal with Koget's units. Alright, so we're gonna head into the 2v2, and the map is Python. Now, one of the benefits of having True Touch is that he can also play 2v2. Last season, Poland's 2v2 team was usually composed of Bonif with Ziggy or Bonif with Kingpin. No offense to those players, but True Touch is just much stronger. Again, Poland won last season. They didn't have True Touch, so you can just imagine how much of a favorite they are yet again. And I think the format benefits them too. The extra 1v1 slot isn't gonna hurt them as much as it is other teams. Alright, we're gonna head into the 2v2. The map is Python. Alright. Let's see, this is Bonif in the 12 o'clock spawn, and he's gonna spawn next to True Touch, and they're Protoss and Zerg team. And in the bottom side of the map we have Sting and Silver. So Terran versus Zerg, Terran Zerg against Protoss Zerg. It's a classic 2v2 matchup, probably the one you're most likely to see. Let's update the score. Poland is now up 2-1. It's a best of 7 so first team to 4 wins, but all sets are being played. Every set is a point. It's a long season, so every point is gonna matter. And what do we have? We have Bonif making a pylon. You want to make a closer ramp so your reinforcements arrive faster. And we have Sting. Looks like he's gonna wall off. He's gonna do, I think. Well, we'll see. We'll see if he goes gas or he goes bio. Silver's gonna go for a 9 pull, and so is True Touch. What is this? What the heck is this? I don't know what's going on. Okay, so we have a mass worker pull. And they're going to Bonif. Now maybe this is a play in case True Touch didn't go 9 pull, but so these overlords never saw each other, so they probably think True Touch is a top. See, yeah, they thought True Touch was they thought True Touch was a top because they didn't see these overlords meet. Now they're in big trouble. On top of this, True Touch is going 9 pull. I don't know what this means, but even if they had gone to the right base, this wouldn't have worked. Looks like I'm not even sure what happened. Did Silver not make an overlord? Do you not make an overlord with this build? Is the plan to just make 3 Sunkens? I'm getting a barracks here, but I mean the Lings hold us off easily, and GG! We have a GG! Probably the shortest replay in Nation Wars. Alright, so let's cover what happened again. These overlords didn't meet, so they assumed True Touch was at top, which of course is normal. And I just want to see what the plan was. I just want to see what the plan is here. Like if they get to True Touch, they just make 3 creeps and hope he's not going for 9 pull, I guess. But interesting build. Unfortunately, it failed. And with that, the 2v2 is over. So we're gonna go into Bonif against Caban. I mean, I'm not sure what to say. First time I see that, fortunately it completely backfired. So this is basically match point for Poland. If they win this, they win the set for week 1. Alright, let's go into Caban versus Bonif on Sylphid. This is Alt Y, let's do it. Alright, in the bottom left corner, as the orange Protoss, we have Bonif. And in the bottom right, as the magenta Terran, we have Caban. Now, Caban, I don't know at all. It's not Casper, it's not TTF. I'm not really sure who this is, if someone can comment. Bonif is a big fan of early pressure builds. I would not be surprised if we see some kind of 2-gate, maybe some core zealot action. Trying to get an advantage in the early game with micro. Usually suits his style. Okay, man, he's gonna make a depot. Both playing normal, no proxy stuff. I think last season, like, this is how strong Poland was last season. Last season, Poland won the finals, and they had 2 players who never lost. Okay, I should backtrack. So Bonif never lost a set. He did lose 1 match in a best of 3, but he never lost a set in the entire season in 1v1. Koget only lost once, and it was against Sugo, but every other match he went undefeated. Yeah, Bonif not scouting. Gateway and gas, and we have Command doing the same. No scout quite yet, which you see an SCV head out soon. There it is. And he's going for barracks and gas. So we're going to see a factory expand most likely, and it looks like Bonif is going to scout after core. And you can see why this is a good timing to scout. He has 3 on gas, and he leaves 1 per patch in his middle line. Then we have Command checking the middle first. Just playing safe, and it looks like Bonif is going to do the same. No zealot from Bonif, and they're both gonna get scouts first. We have a SimCity from Command. Zealots can't fit through these gaps, and Marines can, so it makes micro a lot easier. With only 2 on, okay, 2 on gas is curious. Usually you see 1 on gas. I don't really know what 2 on gas means, but Bonif sees this. Should have a factory any second. We're floating a little bit here. A little bit focus on that pro. We have Bonif making range and the Dragoon. I'm waiting for what this 2 gas business is all about. Now we only have 1 on gas, but we can actually afford another factory. Are we gonna make another factory? Maybe just an oversight from Caban. We're just gonna expand it teams now against no zealot. It's perfectly fine like this to make the command center and then a bunker. You have enough time before the Dragoons can reasonably pressure. And with 3 Marines, you can hold off a Dragoon. No problem. Range isn't done. They have the same range as Marines. There's a factory about to be completed. Will we see add-on or Vulture? Like Bonif went for the 23 Nexus, so he gets the Nexus down before the 3rd pylon. There's a 3rd pylon now after another Dragoon. And we should see a Robo soon with 3 bunkers or 3 Marines in the bunker. Caban is completely safe. Add on first, 3 back on gas. 2 SCVs at the front, ready to repair this bunker at any moment. There's a 3rd Dragoon from Bonnet, and there's a Robo. So both players playing standard. He's ready. Now the range timing, like he knows. You want 1 SCV per Dragoon repairing. We have the first tank being produced. We have the SCV transfer heading to the net. Very clean play from both. The one oversight was this 2 on gas. There's a 3rd Dragoon, and there we have the 3rd SCV. Second gateway from Bonnet. Are we going to see a 3rd gateway? It's just going to stay on 2. No 3rd gateway quite yet. First tank out. Now this is key moment. You don't want to lose this tank. You don't want to lose this tank. But Protoss also want to commit to cleaning this tank. With 3 Marines in the bunker, this is a ton of damage. Now with 4 Dragoons, they 2-shot the tank. Combine has to be very careful. You can see Bonnet if he wants to do it. Usually you don't linger around this long once the tank is out, unless you want to. There we go. We have Bonnet coming forward now. Doesn't commit. You can see these SCVs would have been able to easily block him. Now we're repairing the tank, making sure it needs 1 extra Dragoon shot. Now we have the Reaver follow up from Bonnet. More Marines being produced, and now okay, so I like Command's build. He's gonna do factory, command center, factory, timing attack. He's getting the starport to follow it up. So you want to reduce the Dragoon number with this build, with your push, and then drop. And then the drop also, the starport also provides utility against any kind of Reaver play. So normally it's risky to skip eBay, Academy, Armory, and all this, but this is an aggressive way to defend. No speed from Bonnet, but we have the 2 Zealots and the first Reaver gonna pop out. It's like, what are we doing? Are we gonna make a dropship? Yep. So the follow-up after this push is to get a drop in. Bonnet's Reaver is already out. It's gonna help him defend from this push. It's a key moment in the game. Let's see how Bonnet controls this. So he's gonna move the Dragoon to. There's a mine on these tanks. Very careful. Mine detonates, lowers the HP of all these tanks. Good targeting from Bonnet. Hits both tanks with 1 Scarab, but now this tank is very low health. We do lose 2 Dragoons, but we traded off 2 Dragoons and a Zealot for 3 tanks. Actually, when the Zealot doesn't even die, for 3 tanks, Marines, and all those Vultures. And we have the Wraith in response to this shuttle. And against a player like Bonnet, I think you should just make a blind Wraith. Not even go drop. Just predict the Reaver. And if he doesn't make a Reaver and you made a useless Wraith. Bonnet is in big trouble now. He's taking a ton of economic damage. Looks like the Reaver's trying to get a couple Scarabs off. Now he should drop in the middle. Oh, that mine saves him. Another Scarab would have been juicy there. We're transferring way too many SCVs. What's going on here? And then behind this, Bonnet has just been macroing calmly. Not really too worried. Are we getting speed? We're getting speed on the shuttle. It's going to make it a lot more useful, especially once you scout there's dropships. Wraiths. You need something for your units to move around freely when there's a threat of a Wraith. A slow shuttle will get caught easily. And we actually have an archives, and this is probably going to be a Stargate from Bonnet. I've seen him do this often, where he goes Reaver into Arbiter. He mixes it up between the 2, Reaver into Arbiter, Reaver into Carrier. Don't want to be too predictable as a player. Still making Marines, so we're committed to timing attacks from Caban, but I think we just suffered too much damage. Actually, we're getting a command center, so this is probably the better play. Are we getting Vulture Speed? Vulture Speed about halfway done. And let's see. More Reaver from Bonnet. Another shuttle. Maybe more shuttles. Are we not gonna get? Okay. So we're getting archives, we're getting DTs. Caban doesn't have an academy. Bonnet saw this with this shuttle. And he's taking a third. Getting cannons up. Only on 3 gateways. Now we have what is known as the Polish recall, where instead of getting arbiters, we just get a ton of shuttles. And we're loading up with DTs, Reavers, Dragoon. This Dragoon is anti-Wraith measure. And we're gonna go into the Terran main. Now the Terran is somewhat prepared. We do see a lot of mines laid in the main. We don't have detection. We don't have an eBay. We're getting the Academy just now. It's not gonna be in time. Are these vultures gonna spot these shuttles? I think they do. Is there any reaction from our Terran player? Looks like no, unfortunately. Where does Bonnet lay these off? We have an observer to scout for mines as well. So this is pretty big. We have the mines detonate, but not killing the DT. A third mine detonates, doesn't kill the DT. We have the tanks pugging out on the egg. This is why you usually kill these eggs early game. Don't want them affecting you at this point. Looks like this does detonate. Now we have very low tanks. We don't have scan to deal with these DTs, and the Reaver is just providing a ton of additional damage. Say Bonnet wants to really unload to get another juicy scarab off. And there, with no tanks left, Caban just taps out. Doesn't even type GG. And with that, Poland wins. Poland wins game or the set. Now we do have one match left. It's gonna be Ziggy against Gornich, and let's just cast it. Let's just cast it. More replays, better for us. And the map is Optimizer. I've never seen a game on it between foreign players. ZVT, it's gonna look interesting. Again, Poland won. So it's a best of 7. Yeti lost, True Touch won, Koget won, the 2v2 went to Team Poland, and Bonif won as well. So there's your 4 points for Poland. Alright, in the top left corner as the purple Terran, we have NW Ziggy. And in the bottom right, as the green-ish Zerg, we have Soul Z Gornich. Now, Gornich, very strong player, high-performing player in BW or BSL. Went to 1 finals and a semifinals recently. And Ziggy, I don't really know much about Ziggy. He did captain Poland last season, and I think he was a regular player, but not sure on what his level is like, skill level. Alright, so updating the score, we do see that Poland won. And let's cover this map because this map is very strange. Very strange. So we have a 2 gas main. Already strange. But these gas are split off so they have exactly 5,000 gas. But it means if you want to, you can mine a lot more gas a lot sooner. Now this will deplete really quickly, but it'll still provide value. You do have to commit a lot of workers to mine from 6 workers to mine from 2 gas. So what you usually see is they'll take, most games look normal in the early game. We have 1 player take the top gas, and if the second gas is going to be taken, it's going to be taking out the net, which is a full gas. Now all the bases in the middle are going to have normal mineral patches, but these gases will only have 3,000. These 2 bases are very close to each other, and now we have minerals at each natural, so each natural has 6 patches, but 4 in the bottom. These you can mine out, and it'll allow you access into this other option for a 3rd base, which also has regular mineral patches and 3,000 on gas. Well, Ziggy's gonna go into mech, and Gornich went 12 hatch, and he's gonna go into 2 hatch layer probably. Yo, Jones Scout gonna confirm that it's cross and Ziggy Scout. Moving on. We have a factory. Do we have SCVs being taken off gas? So we leave 1 on gas. There's a factory. We're getting 1 marine. just to ward off this drone scout. And Gornich is still making drones. He's gonna put 3 on gas. He's gonna save larva. Now against mech, because you can get 3 gas on this map, mech is a better option than it is on normal maps. Also these, with every base having a gas, it's just very flexible to play as mech. Usually limited on gas as mech, so maps like Circuit Breaker, very rarely will you see mech on the map like that. There's the lair immediately from Gornich. Now he's gonna need a sunken to deal with this incoming vulture once it's being produced. You usually make it at around 340, 330. Here we go. Sunken going down, or creep conning going down for Gornich. Let's see what Ziggy's gonna do. Looks like this is just standard mech. We're getting 1 vulture. This vulture will allow us to deal with early lings pretty effectively. And there's a command center. Now we have Gornich trying to mine out these patches. They only have 250 minerals, so they mine out pretty quickly, but it does allow you to get into this base freely. Add-on and an armory. Now this vulture's just gonna stay out the front, trying to get as much scouting information as possible. Units position here not to allow a run by, and we lost 8 minerals doing that, but it's fine. Getting a Hydra Den and a Spire, so very nice Sim City from Gornich. Vulture's having to go all the way around and into the mineral line to try to run by. And he's making them both at the front so that Ziggy can see. We're still droning up behind us. No second gas quite yet. You want to saturate your mineral lines as soon as possible before you take your second gas. This is a new optimization of 2 hatch against mech. Now what is Gornich doing? Is he gonna get Hydra speed? It's like no. Where did that SCV come from? I didn't even see that. Looks like Gornich also forgot about it. We have SCVs transferred to the net. Second factory going up. We have the armory and we're getting Goliath range instantly. So not going into any speed vulture play before Goliaths. We have even more buildings made at the front to provide additional sim. Now Gornich hasn't quite mined this out. You could trick a drone through. It does take a little bit of APM, but it's pretty easy. And it allows you access into that base. Before the minerals are mined out, we have the second gas finally being taken. And it looks like we're just waiting for that Spire to finish. But Ziggy's going to be well prepared for this. We have the first 2 Goliaths out. We have then eBay making no upgrade quite yet. Range is the more important upgrade really. It takes quite a while to finish, and you really do want to have it against mutas. Good saturation from Gornich in his main. You see both players took the top gas. I've seen players take the bottom gas erroneously, but it didn't factor in because the game ended quickly. This bottom gas mines out super fast. Against mech, you can't reliably get the Overlord here anyways. And because it's cross, well, we actually had a tank being made, so Ziggy a little bit scared about the Hydra play. The Hydra Den at the front, providing value already for Gornich. Normally, no tank is made. Tank isn't going to help at all against mutas. And now, once this mine out, I think we're going to see Gornich take his 3rd base. And now this is going to be a very easy to defend 3rd base. Don't have to go out. What is this? Very confusing. From Gornich, just suicided a muta like that. Looks like Ziggy made about 5 turrets. And there's +1, so he's getting +1 weapons, not armor. 3rd factory. And now Siege, a little bit curious. So his build's a little bit wonky. We don't have a second gas quite yet. So I guess if you wanted to make that, but it's getting bugged out. The padding threw it off. Looks like Gornich is actually going to take an out in the middle of the map 3rd when he has this free one back here. Getting getting +1 for the Hydras. No Hydra speed quite yet. We're also getting +1 for the Mutas. Now 10 Mutas is a very big threat. You can see Ziggy doesn't actually have that many units. He only had 2 factories this whole time. He made a tank that he normally isn't main, so he's playing it safe. He's actually adding more turrets. Because he's completely in the dark, he doesn't know what Gornich is up to really. He's playing it safe. Getting another turret in the main, and now we have Starport. So Ziggy is not going to be as interested in moving out at any point. That was the Academy being killed there. Now, because Gornich saw the Starport, he should realize this isn't going to be a timing attack. Now, what he could do, he has a couple options here. He could go for a bust, but he also has the opportunity to drone up freely. Knowing this isn't going to be a 5 factory play, you wouldn't have seen this Starport otherwise. But the Muta's getting a couple more SCVs diving in. We have them coming in, getting a ton of value actually. 5 SCVs. And no Mutas actually go down. 4th base about to finish for Gornich. You can see his drone count isn't too high. We have the opportunity to drone here. We're still making Hydras, so it looks like we're going to follow us up with a lot of Hydras. Hydra speed done, range done. We're on the way. We have +1 carrot base done for the Mutas, and we have +1 weapons for the Hydras. About to finish. There's a science facility from Ziggy, and +1 is about to finish, so he's timing this well so he can start +2 instantly. I like this. He's killing off the Muta, the SCVs mining from the bottom patch. This is a lot easier, and it does mean that Ziggy is not going to have access to the bottom path. We get 1 tank. Looks like we're going to get a 2nd tank. We're going to get all 3 tanks. Now this is huge. Because we're going in for a timing, we're going to follow us up with a ton of Hydras. Killing off any tanks is critical. Now Ziggy has 2 add-ons, so he's going to produce tanks at double the rate than you would normally expect, but losing those 3 tanks is critical. We only have about a control group of Goliaths. Now where are the Hydras? We're massing Hydras. We do have 3, 4, 5 Hydras. Now these 3, 4, 5 hatcheries. Now these, yeah, they're going to make drones because we need to saturate these bases. But I feel like Gornich's play is a little bit slow. These bases could have been saturated already, and just a little bit off. We're getting +2. And Ziggy's adding more factories. Now Ziggy has only been on two bases this entire time. No 3rd in sight. We're investing a lot into tech. We're getting vessels, we're getting irradiate. We're probably gonna get +2 any second. And you can see the power of this stir gas. Usually you never float gas with mech. Now this gas is about to mine out. Look how fast it mines out. Let's look at Ziggy's gas. Yeah, both players gonna mine. We have a 2nd Hydra then, because we killed the one at the front. Gornich's saturation is looking much better now. But I feel like had he known Ziggy was gonna play this defensively, he would have drawn up a lot faster. He could have had even a 5th base here, and his production would have been able to kick into a higher gear a lot earlier. He did pick off those 3 tanks, so you can see Ziggy's tank count is very low. Going up to 6 factories. Now still no more upgrades from Ziggy. The irradiate is key. It'll nullify the Muta threat. And now we have Gornich taking yet another gas. He's going back into Mutas. No +2 on these Mutas. And we're moving the Hydras to the north side of the map. I don't know if this is to hide them and counter once Ziggy moves out. Tons of Goliaths being made now. We do have enough production to make tanks and Goliaths. What do we have here? We have a 3rd command center. This is probably going to be floated off to this base. This base, against the Mutas, this base is much harder to take because not only is it easily accessible by air, not ground, but if your units were to defend this base by air, you're very close to the middle map, but by ground, you're getting farther from the middle. So we actually have +1 weapons. I missed this from the Mutas. And It's like Gornich is committed to the heavy lair build. Now this is what I don't like. I never want to see this as Zerg. We are investing heavily into gas, but you still want to have your mineral lines saturated. At least one per patch. Our tank count is still quite low. We're only on 7 tanks. Gornich just does have, I mean, a lot. Gornich has had a lot of time to build this army up. He's finally sending drones slowly to this base. I'm waiting for the next play. Looks like Ziggy not interested in moving out at any point in this game. Really just gaining space on the map just to take bases. Very committed to getting upgrades, tech. Finally see some vultures being added. And we have mines. Speed already done. With +1, the vultures will 2-shot the drones. I like this depot wall, very cute. Gonna make it harder to attack into the base. Surprisingly, Gornich just going for mutas. We have a Queen's Nest finally, but very late Queen's Nest. Against mech, you have a lot of options. You can take the map and drone. You can take the map and make queens. You can go Hydra Muta, but the Hydra Muta doesn't scale as well as queens. Because the queens will ignore all the upgrades Terran get. They will just one-shot the tanks, and it'll provide your Hydras with the punch they need against a mech army that's going to be well upgraded, but with low tank numbers. You can see Gornich just trying to find a good angle to engage. He sees our units out on the middle of the map, so he's going to counter with mutas. This is very good. We only have 4 turrets here. We don't have that many Goliaths. Ziggy's actually switching into vultures. Those tanks are going to get these tanks for free. Unit's going to dive into the main. Now we have the Hydras coming in. It's a little bit risky. They're coming in a line. Nope, looks like they're just positioning here. You have to be very careful here with these mutas clumped up like this. If you can split them out, you can effectively neutralize, irradiate. So he's not splitting his mutas. Mutas are taking a ton of damage. Their base is exposed. If you can get on these tanks and then bring the Hydras, it's only 4 tanks. Looks like Gornich is out of tanks really. He's only, Ziggy's out of tanks. He only has these 4 here and 2 coming from his main. But where the Hydras are far back, there are a couple of mines and some tanks here, but very exposed tanks. We're down to 10 mutas, but the mutas have done a ton of damage, reducing Ziggy's tank count. Looks like Gornich is going to commit with the attack here. Now he's missing a couple of hatcheries, really. One mine goes off, gets a Hydra, but not too much damage done. Well, the upgrades are actually in Gornich's favor. Hydras are a little bit clumped up here, so he has to be careful. I mean, the third is the target here, and we see the Hydras going into the third. And they're just going to target this command center. Command center going down, going down, going down. It's going to be taken out. Hydras at the front melt. But now, basically all Gornich has to do is hold off this attack. Still getting a ton of Hydras. What's our tank count like? We're at 3 tanks. Getting off another tank, but we have to conserve our units here. So we're retreating. Another radio on these mutas. The muta's not even reacting. +2 finishes for the mech. We finally have queens. Now this is extremely risky. I don't know why he's going queens in this position. Ziggy's only comeback option here is to kill Gornich right now. You can see his main is about to mine out. This gas is depleted. This gas is depleted. And that gas is going to be depleted soon. Actually, it's about half. But going for queens in this moment when you know Terran is going to attack is a little bit risky. We do have them gathering energy already. It looks like they're about 70. So about a couple of minutes away from having enough. If he can buy enough time for these queens to get energy, then he'll be fine. We have a Muta here scouting for potential base at 3 o'clock, but not much else for Ziggy. Looks like we're gonna... Can we actually siege? No, we can't siege that. Ziggy just moving his units around. Gornich's supply hasn't gone up in a while. I wonder why. I guess these Hydras that were at the top got picked off. 2-1 just finishes. We're not gonna get 3-2. It's not really gonna factor into this game. This game isn't gonna go long enough for 3-2. We have 3 weapons, 3-4. Gornich. Look at the Hydras. Look at the Hydras. When 2 units are moving and they collide like that, sometimes that happens. I like how he's spreading out his Hydras, ready for an engagement. But he shouldn't engage here. He shouldn't engage here. He should really just keep buying time. Keep buying time. We have the queens in the back. Here they are. It's... How many queens? Nope, looks like we're going to engage. We're just going in. Now our Hydras are decently spread out. We're minimizing the tank splash. Getting on top of these Goliaths with a good concave. Now we shouldn't keep pressing. We shouldn't keep pressing because the tanks are far back enough now. And they're well upgraded. So the splash will destroy these Hydras. Orange has to be careful. He wants to keep enough Hydras to deal with the Goliath so the queens can come in. But his position is still looking strong. Ziggy's third is going up now. His main's about to mine out. We can sack this base, probably even this base, and still win. No pressure on Gornich really. Time is on his side. Let's look at these queens. These queens are about to have broodling. What is this? Is this queen energy? Alright, here we go, here we go. Not timing this well, we're actually leading with the Hydras. Here come the queens. How many went off? Not sure what happened there. That was actually terrible. You have one queen in the back. Still have 5 tanks. We're actually on top of Zerg's rally here. There's a queen, but it's gonna die before it gets a ruling off. And actually, I think Gornich isn't. He's boned. Ziggy isn't mining. He's just mining his third now, but Gornich just bled off too many units, and the queens didn't provide. Like we had 8 queens, but I only saw 4 or 5 scarabs rulings go off. Now we're in big trouble. Tanks are coming into the front. You can see Gornich is having a tough time engaging. Right, we have a couple more brewlings. Again, another queen goes down without using the brewling. Another queen goes down. We have enough for another brewling. Gornich is just falling apart here. We have the Hydras again committing. Okay, looks like... Whoa, what? Wait, why? Why did we GG? What happened? Ziggy's on 1 base. Gornich has a ton of minerals. We did lose a production hatchery. We're gonna lose a spire. There's only 4 tanks here. We still had that 1 queen. What happened? What happened?
Si te gustó este video, no olvides darle like. Y si aún eres nuevo y aún no te suscribes, te invitamos a hacerlo y a darle clic a la campanita. Recuerda que todos los días viernes estaremos subiendo nuevas guías y nuevo material, todo en relación con Starcraft remasterizado. Hasta la próxima, amigos.